Hi, I'm Allison Anderson. I'm the founder and CEO of Integro Builders, and this is Project Notes. This project is located in Fennville, Michigan, which is commonly referred to as Harbor Country of Western Michigan. This is a very complex project that is located on a partial wetland and a heavily wooded lot, and also directly overlooking Lake Michigan. So this house needs to look great, but it also needs to be working within the elements that it's situated. So lots of weather, lots of wind, lots of humidity, and lots of natural sitting water. This very simple photo actually has a lot going on to make it look seamless. The first thing that you may notice is the siding. So the siding here is an Ipe siding. This is a sustainable grade, highly reproduced, but extreme hardwood material. And this is an Abodo siding, which is actually a charred cedar. This is very high end, but the most important thing about achieving the design intent is that everything needs to work within each other. So you'll notice this corner, the Ipe flows directly into the Abodo siding, and you don't really know while you're looking at it, but the only way you're able to do that is to be doing butt joints along the side. And so a butt joint is where it adjoins directly to each other. It's very difficult to do because these are very, very high ceilings. We're looking at 13, 14 feet, and everything has to run exactly vertical all the way to the top. So we have these butt joints here under the soffit, here, on every corner, and then we have the lap siding, which is tongue and groove, as opposed to lap, meaning they fit into each other. From a aesthetic standpoint and also a waterproofing standpoint, you really have to get this right, and there are a lot of complex systems behind the siding in order to make that happen. The whole concept of making a room like this come to life is all of the little details that go into it. So the first thing that we notice in this photo is that it's very symmetrical. And why is that? First of all, this is all custom millwork built exactly to scale with the room. The entire house is actually like an airplane wing. So the house is actually slanting this way, backwards. You can't see it in this photo because we built it right. So all of the millwork is slightly different to accommodate that slant and give the illusion that the room is perfectly straight. The other thing is we have this window, which is perfectly centered in the room, but also equidistant between each bunk. So that's a slightly different dimension here and here, but it gives the appearance of being symmetrical. These are things we have to do way before any finishes are installed in the house. These are details that we have to work out when we are framing up the house. We have to know how wide this casing is, where this millwork is going to land, what the wall application is going to be, and all that jazz. The other thing that we have in here is you'll notice there's an outlet here and there's a floor register here. The floor register is custom white oak. The outlet is at the exact location where if you're standing in the room and looking, you do not see it, but it exists and it's functional. That's high-end design. Finally, we have these niches, which were the love child of our clients. Each of these bunks has a niche in it that has its own little outlet and USB, and it's got its own sconce so the kids can turn the lights on and off as they would like. To read and be good little children we know they'll be when there's 4 of them populating these bunks at night. This photo is showing quite a few rooms. If we're standing in this room, this is what we affectionately refer to as the family room, and it's looking into the kitchen, the dining room, and the living room. The family room is quite a large room, which you can't see from here. But what you also can't see is we have a lot of different ceiling elevations happening. So the ceiling in the family room is up here. This is about 10 feet. This is about 11 feet. And then in here, this is about 14 feet. In early design, we're planning for the view from this room, and we want to make sure that we can experience the kitchen and the living room from the family room. You'll notice the doors, the millwork, and the floors. These are all white oak, whitewashed pieces. However, they're not all made by the same manufacturer or fabricator. So we have to match all of these pieces to each other in order to make them look like they were all made to fit together. That takes a lot of foresight, and it takes a lot of high quality craftsmanship in order to make that work. And as we're looking into the room, you'll notice that these lights here look like they are in perfect position. That was not easy. This ceiling is slanted this way. These are custom fixtures, and we had to measure exactly where these lights would land on this ceiling and how far they would come down so that we could get this perfect symmetrical line exactly where we needed it above the dining room. Even though this is a very simple, clean shot into a few rooms, there's probably, I would guess, somewhere around 100 details we had to achieve in order to make this one shot work. So now we are in the living room, dining room, and bar of the residence. These ceilings are 14 feet high. It's a lot of open space. Obviously, we're in 3 rooms within 1 space, but each room needs to be distinctive. Each room has its own character, and each room has to accommodate both the height of the room and the angles of the room. This is an extremely architectural space, and we really needed to be careful on how to achieve the design intent. Over here in the bar, it may look like these are square tiles, but these are actually handmade tiles. All of these grout lines in between are custom edged, meaning that we may say we want a 1/8 of an inch grout line, but really our tile installer is crafting each piece one by one next to each other to achieve the look that all of these tiles are exactly equidistant. But each piece is different, and different size and slightly different shape. The other working issue we're having here is the ceiling is angling this way, and the ceiling is angling away from us this way. But the fireplace looks like it's dead on. Actually, the fireplace is slightly askew. So the entire wall has to look like it's going straight up and down, even though actually it's slightly angled away from us. The other important thing is this window. Not only is it on an angle, but you'll notice there's absolutely no molding here. This is what's called a fry reglet detail. We are installing, in fact, another piece of trim onto this window to get that clean, seamless look. And there you have a lakeside living room. So now we are at the front. This is the money shot of the house, and this is the pièce de résistance of everything that was the catalyst for the interior. We started with the architecture. We wanted a strong, modern house with organic materials that really was a statement in the lot that it was situated, but also worked with it and didn't look like an alien spaceship in the middle of this wooded lot. The architect specified this Aboto siding. We talked about this before. Again, it's the tongue and groove joints which work in each other. This is much more difficult to do than lap siding, as you might see a hardy board or a cedar siding. This is also very high-end material that's extremely durable and fights against bugs, weather, sap, all the things you have to worry about in a heavily wooded lot. You'll notice under here we have the ipe soffits going all the way across, and we have what's basically a boardwalk all the way down here. These are hundreds of custom cut pieces on the side. It would have been a lot easier for us to just cut a few boards and run them this way, lengthwise, underneath the soffits. But we didn't do that. We wanted clean lines all the way down so that when we got to this corner, everything was still running side to side. It's not easy to do. The other thing that was very difficult to do is we have these large windows. You'll notice that we have a roof that's going across the top, but these windows look like they're one continuous window, don't they? That's by design. So this is actually 2 separate windows, one on top, one on the bottom, perfectly lined up, one on top of the next. And then, just to keep things interesting, this window opens. So guess what? What does that mean? It's a different frame, it's a different size, and we have to keep everything perfectly aligned at the bottom. So the architect can tell us, this is how he wants it to look, and it's our job as the builder to come in and say, this is how we're gonna build it. This area down here is absolutely beautiful and really just continues on with the core concepts of what's going on in the interiors. This is a multi-slide 3-panel door right here. It's a huge installation. This door required a crane just to set it in place, not only to bring it here, but also when we were here setting all these windows, there was a crane helping us lift everything in. So we're dealing with safety, we're dealing with craftsmanship, we're dealing with details down to the 1/2 inch on every single thing that you see in this space. And that's the Fennville project.